Hello and welcome back to FPL Hacks with me, Holly Shand. Today I'm going to be looking at the best player transfer targets for double game week 36, bearing in mind those teams and those players that have got plenty still to play for the rest of this Premier League season. If you've got transfer plans for the double game week, let me know in the comments what moves you are planning on making, and give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. Starting off then at the top of the Premier League table, and Manchester City are on a winning streak and they cannot afford to lose, with Liverpool hot on their heels. Looking at the best assets to get from Manchester City, I really like Ederson as an option in goal if you're looking to double up on the Manchester City defence and maybe own Cancelo already. I think in terms of getting a player that's going to be nailed on to start for the remaining games, Ederson is going to be easily the best bet, and he is more than capable of delivering those clean sheets. 19 clean sheets for the season at the moment, one behind Alisson in the race for the Golden Glove. I think that's going to be pretty important. There's no love lost between those two, and they are really going to be battling out in the remaining 4 games. Interestingly, in the reverse of Ederson's double game week 36 fixtures, he kept 2 clean sheets, so that bodes well for further clean sheets in these fixtures. And we know from previous seasons he can often chip in with an attacking return here and there as well. Now, staying with Manchester City as well, having a look at the premium options in midfield, I still think that you get what you pay for with Kevin De Bruyne if you're looking at getting a Man City attacker. He obviously was rested last weekend, which wasn't great for his owners, but it does help in terms of predicting his starts for the rest of the season. Obviously, it was always going to be a bit of a crunch time with a key Champions League game coming up this midweek. But then beyond that, Manchester City aren't in the FA Cup final, so they don't really have any reason to rotate. And with De Bruyne already having that rest ahead of game week 36, I think we can comfortably presume that he will start the remaining 4 Premier League fixtures for Manchester City as they look to clinch the Premier League title. Now, the race is on with Liverpool, and I doubt that Liverpool are going to blink in the final game weeks of the season as they look to pinch the Premier League title from Manchester City in the remaining games. Mo Salah, we have to start with him. I know a lot of managers were worried after seeing him on the bench against Newcastle United. Again, Champions League rotation has crept in a little bit there, but now he's had his rest, I can see him starting the remaining games of the season. He is in the race for the Golden Boot, also in the race for the Playmaker award as well. He's had a sensational season, perhaps his best ever season with Liverpool. Penalties in his locker as well. I don't think we'll be disappointed if we back Salah to the end of the season, and he could easily be a captain candidate and maybe the favourite captain for the remaining 3 game weeks. Joining him, Trent Alexander-Arnold, another player that got a rest in game week 35. That is good news if you own Trent going into game week 36. Now he's had his rest. Again, he's unlikely to be rotated. I know that Robertson has maybe been outperforming him in recent weeks, but now that Trent has had his rest, he's my favourite now if you're choosing to shop for a Liverpool defender this week. He's in the race for the Playmaker award, 12 assists this season, 1 behind Mo Salah, and he's also top for bonus points this season with 32, which tells me that if he keeps a clean sheet and maybe gets an attacking return as well, he's very likely to scoop up the maximum number of bonus points. Looking slightly further down the Premier League table now then, and the race for the top 4, it's going to be a very exciting North London derby in double game week 36 between Arsenal and Spurs, and a very exciting finish to the season as well for these 2 teams. Starting with Arsenal, Bukayo Saka is set to be the best value midfielder in the game this season, and in terms of his output over the last 5 game weeks, he is 3rd for shots with 18 and top for key passes with 15. He's been getting plenty of attacking returns, and they are going to continue in the form of both goals and assists. He's obviously on set pieces for Arsenal, and since Lacazette has lost his place, he's also been on penalties as well, which has been brilliant for his owners. Speaking of Lacazette losing his place, Eddie Nketiah has fitted in really well into the Arsenal attack as the central striker. Few goals in there, and what was also encouraging is that he was 5th for shots over the last 5 game weeks with 60, so he looks to have nailed down that spot in the attack. And also he's great value, which is really what we need if we're looking to squeeze in a lot of premium players and a big premium defence into our squads for the rest of the fantasy season. Staying with North London then, and now looking towards Spurs. It was another brutal game week in game week 35 for those managers that didn't own Son. Son over Kane, or Kane over Son, has really punished in recent weeks, and I'm afraid I can see that trend continuing. I think if you don't own Son, now is still the time to get on board with 4 games remaining for Spurs. The thing that we also need to consider is that Son is on 19 goals for the season, 3 behind Mo Salah. He is in the Golden Boot race. We could potentially see Kane giving up penalties for Son in his quest for the Golden Boot. So that's going to be quite important. And, you know, I just feel like Son has the upper hand. You look at the fixtures they've got remaining, they don't look the easiest fixtures on paper, but in terms of the teams that they're coming up against, those teams are going to attack Spurs, which will leave space in behind for Spurs to counter-attack. Son is the one in that Spurs attack that has that pace on the counter-attack. Now, as well as having Son in your team, if you want to stay invested in that Spurs attack, I think bringing in Kulusevski is also a good move. He's looked like fantastic value. He was on the bench in game week 35, but came on with an excellent substitute performance. So I think that solidifies his space in the starting 11 once again. He's now 13 attacking returns in 14 appearances for Spurs, 3 goals, 9 assists in there as well. I don't think you can complain too much about that output for a midfielder priced under 6.5 million. And we know how many managers have either a Son or a Kane in their squad at the moment. Doubling up is the only way that you can take advantage of these big hauls of Spurs goals. Turning our attentions to the bottom end of the Premier League table, it looks like the fight for relegation and the fight for survival is going to go down to the wire. I'm not looking at Leeds United assets for double game week 36 because of the difficulty of their fixtures, Arsenal and Chelsea, but I do think Everton could be a good option for investment with their double game week against Leicester and Watford. Now, unfortunately, both of those fixtures are on the road, but then they do have 2 home games in double game week 37, which we also get from Everton. In terms of those teams fighting for survival, Everton have the best fixtures and the most fixtures, so it makes them a good investment. Now, Richarlison, if we start with him, he is top for shots across all players over the last 5 game weeks with 23, so he has certainly got a lot of investment opportunity there and plenty still to play for Everton during this spell of games. I think he's got 4 goals in that spell as well. I also like the look of Anthony Gordon as a I think if you're on another budget midfielder like Dewsbury Hall or Jacob Ramsey, now's the opportunity to get on one that has something to play for. He's obviously very prevalent in that Everton attack, and with that double game week in 37 as well, I think you can likely play him across those games, and if you may be playing a bench boost, then he's going to be a very good option for your fantasy squads. I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, do get in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them ahead of the deadline, which comes on Saturday. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And all that's left for me to say is good luck for double game week 36.